Alright, so I'm shaking really bad. And it feels like someone's squeezing my heart. Didn't think this would be as hard as it is, seeing as I am a very open person. I can tell some stranger everything about myself. Maybe it's just the fact that there's so many people who could see this. I don't know if anyone will, but they could. So, recently I have felt very prompted and compelled to share my story. I hope that it can help people who have gone through similar, even if just a little, who have gone through similar things as I have. So to start out, I'm just going to share a little bit of my story. For those of you who know me super well, I am horrible at telling stories. They'll start here and they'll end up all over the place. Bella, what are you eating? Sorry, my dog's with me. So, it started from my memory when I was 8. When I was 8, I was touched inappropriately by a extended family member. I'm not going to say who it is, but by an extended family member. And it's really hard because I looked up to this person. They meant a lot to me. I would go over to their house all the time. We would do things together all the time. I remember building tree houses and just crafty things like that. We used to play Chinese checkers all the time. I can't play it since, but it used to be my favorite game. Well, I mean, maybe I could play it, but haven't tried. Oh, I'm shaking. I don't know why this is so hard. I'm usually so open. Whew. I remember that I didn't know what was happening. All I remember is that I was sitting on his lap. And I remember him touching me, and I don't think I really knew what was happening for the first couple years. And I think part of me understood that it was bad because I think I did avoid him at least for a year. And then I remember one summer, I think I was 13. It was between my 7th and 8th grade year. I was going to help his wife, who had surgery. Just with things around the house, and I stayed there for a few days. Whew. Maybe the reason this is so hard is because it's a little more detailed than usual. Anyway, I stayed at his house, and I remember sitting on his lap again, and he started to touch me, and all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, I understand. Hi, baby. She's checking on me. Thank you for the loves. I love you too. Am I stressed? Can you tell? This is my ESA, guys. She knows. I love you too. Sit, Bella. Thank you. Of course, you gotta be in the middle of a video, huh? I remember him touching me. And then I remember him touching my chest. Which, that was when I had just started getting boobs. I'm okay, baby. I'm okay. I'm okay. Lay down. Lay down. Lay. Good girl. She's making sure I'm okay. Good girl. So yeah. I remember, I think that's the first time I really felt that I had to get away. I needed to get away. And so the first chance I got out of his lap and I avoided him. But I think by this point, I think he had a little possession over me. Because I remember my grandma was out on the front porch. Well, there goes not saying anything. Whoops. I guess it just comes out like that. My grandma was out on the front porch. And I was inside, and so my grandpa was heading out front, and I don't know why this bugs me more than everything else, but it does. I remember him leaning down and kissing me on the lips. Not nearly as severe as anything else that he had done. But I think because kissing is something that I knew about, my parents had kissed, my siblings had kissed, it was something that my body and my mind knew what it was. Unlike the other things, it really freaked me out. And I understood this is bad. This is not okay. And that was my first ever experience with a kiss. So it's hard sometimes for me to kiss people. Especially now that I'm married. Luckily my husband is amazing and very patient with me. Sorry, I fidget with my hands a lot when I'm nervous. But luckily I got this, girl. My hands are tingling. Anyway, it was hard. I didn't tell anyone about it, which is, can I just say, to those of you who are parents or are going to be parents, set a way for your kids to tell you if something bad happened. I remember I had this amazing pediatrician. I was probably 6 or 7 when this happened, but I was doing my checkup. I had to, he had to check my privates and stuff, and he said to me, if anyone touches you like this without it being a doctor and your mom here, I want you to tell us. He asked, has anyone done that to you? And no one had at that point, at least not that I remember, because I didn't understand, but he told me it's serious. If someone ever does, please tell us. Tell your parents and tell me. And for some reason, in my, sorry, my neighbor's dog just came out. And she saw Bella, and she loves Bella. Anyway, and I remember, oh, sorry, where was I? Oh, in my mind, I was like, once it happened, and I knew that this was bad, I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell my doctor when I see him. Don't know why, but I never saw that pediatrician again, and so I never told anyone. And I think if I was, if someone had told me or not someone, if my parents had told me, hey, if anything like this comes and happen, you come tell me, but for some reason my little kid mind, it had to be the doctor. I don't know why. It's just, I think I think I knew I could tell my parents. I was just scared to. So, around the same time as this, like actually a little bit, not as the doctor, same time that my grandpa kissed me, I think it was probably a few months before, maybe after, I don't know. Timeline is really hard when you're a child. I remember finding pornography, and just as a kid in itself, you get addicted, and you get addicted hard and fast. And I would beat myself up a lot for that in the years to come, and I would hate myself for it. And I think that's one thing. I don't even know, guys. I had a hard time with it. Well, pornography was a huge issue, particularly because I didn't know why I couldn't stop. Come to learn a few years later, when I had a bishop who put me and my mom in counseling because of my parents' divorce. He wanted, well, not together, but like we separately went to this counselor. See, I told you I jump everywhere. Anyway, nothing happened with my grandpa from that time I just told you about till now. Like, nothing has happened. Things happened with other boys. Things that I blame myself for. And I don't necessarily blame them for either. Because I have learned through the counseling that I've taken that there's different responses to danger. And one of mine, unlike fight or flight or freeze, which freeze is one that I do, I submit. I submit to whatever I am afraid of. So I submit to these boys who, at a young age, I don't think they knew well enough as they should that they shouldn't have been doing things. So I don't blame them. But I also do think that we need to teach boys that if someone is not actively participating and they have not said, yes, I want to do this, then they shouldn't do it. But I blame myself a lot for things that had happened with those boys, and I remember I couldn't say it out loud. I had written it in a journal. I had written everything about my grandpa. I had written everything about the pornography. I had written everything about I don't remember if I said boys already. I had written everything about that, and I went and I talked to my bishop. Those of you who don't know, that's my church leader, and he's just someone who leads our ward, which is like our congregation, and we can talk to him about stuff. And a lot of me felt very sinful about it, that I had done something wrong. So my bishop, when I gave him my journal and I let him read it, I didn't really talk much. He asked me a few questions. I have heard that some people have had issues with their bishops asking too personal questions. Mine didn't. He was so respectful, and he asked the questions that he needed to get information to alert the authorities. And he told me that I am not to blame. And he helped me to know that it wasn't on me. And he had 24 hours to, like, according to their rules, they have 24 hours to alert authorities, but he wanted my parents to know first. So we met with my parents, and I don't remember if my dad was there. I feel like it was just my mom, but it could have been both. And I remember he alerted the authorities, and I got contacted by some kind of caseworker, and I went to, sorry, this is really long, you guys are probably not going to watch all this, but if someone needs to hear it, this is for you. I talked to sorry, this isn't just for you, I think this is for me as well. I talked to a police officer. They got me a female one because I think I could have talked to a male, but it helped to talk to a female because I don't really have anything against men, which is kind of weird. They only make me uncomfortable if they do things that make me uncomfortable. Pretty logical, I guess. Anyway, and I remember having to tell the story to her, and like she asked questions, and I remember kind of the similar feeling right now, except a lot more, because I'd never said it before. Everything was just caving in. And she asked some pretty personal questions, but she needed to. She needed to know exactly what happened. I hadn't heard anything for about 3 years after that. Apparently some things happened. People dropped the ball a little bit. We called 3 years later, or 2 or 3 years, I don't know, to ask, hey, what's going on with this case? Is he gonna get any repercussions or anything like that? And she said, sorry, and she was honest about it. She was like, I messed up. I didn't call you, I didn't contact you. Just things kept happening with cases and stuff, and which I understand, people aren't perfect. I do wish I would have known a little bit, but because of the time that had gone in between when it happened and when I said about it, which was about a year or two, probably 2 years, and the fact that he denied it, they wouldn't do anything. They said there's nothing we can do, and the only thing I worry about is that if it ever happened to someone else, which I have been told that it did happen to someone a few years before me, and she told about it, and then a little while later she came out saying, oh, I lied. And this was before me. I don't know who it was. I was never told. None of my parents don't know. But yeah, I was. So there is another person, but the authorities don't know about her. And so it's a little frustrating. But right now he's physically at the point where he can't touch anyone. He can't do anything, and I'm comfortable with that. I think one thing that might be different for me than other people is that I have forgiven him. Now, am I weary of him? Yes. Can I go near him? I've just barely started to, when I go visit my grandma, to say hi. I'll say hi to him, that's it. My hair looks so greasy. Probably because I need to highlight, or need to get my roots done. I just washed it last night. And I'm touching it a lot. That's probably what it is. I touch my hair when I'm nervous. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, I have forgiven him. I will never trust him. I will never forget. But I'm at peace with it. I do fear when my nieces are around him. But that's why I don't let them out of my sight. I also, one thing that I don't know if everyone is like, I do not regret it. That might sound weird. It's not that like I enjoyed it or anything, but I don't regret it because I know that I am the person I am today because of it. I am stronger. And I'm more forgiving because of it, and that is a very important trait to me. And I know that I am here on this earth to help other people, and so I want to do that. I want to share my experience with people. That's why I'm doing this right now. So I don't regret it. I want other people to know that they can get through it because I've gone through it. Oh, it's been a long and awful process. And I'm not even all the way through it. Every milestone in my life is going to bring things back. Like getting married to my husband. There's a lot of stress and a lot of hardship that comes with it. It's never going to be gone. But I married a wonderful man who accepts me and understands that I can't always accept his touch, and that I can't always accept his kisses. But he keeps trying, and he's patient with me, and he loves me, and he's getting better and better and better at telling when I am uncomfortable with something. And if I am, he stops. He will not push me. He never pushes me. So, I don't really know how to end this video, but I just wanted to share, and hope that it can help someone. And if not, well, I gotta speak up a little bit, which I mean I'm pretty good at. For those of you who know me, I'm very talkative. But I will probably share some more videos in the future about some other things that I've dealt with. Oh, one thing I wanted to make a point of. Just because I told you I'm all over the place. The pornography thing. I was addicted to pornography up until, it's still there. I don't think it will never not be. But I couldn't stop until the year I met my husband. That's a long time. Maybe not as long as others, but yeah, it's a long time. Oh, I just got a sliver. Anyway. But one thing that helped me to get over it and stop blaming myself was I learned from my my therapist that one of the ways that you can deal with sexual abuse is at a young age you want to understand what it is and why it happened and how it could be a good thing. which is not. You find ways to figure out what it is. So I would watch pornography. When I first found it, I was like, oh, what is this? This is kind of similar to something that happened to me. And so I watched it, and then it just continued, because that's what pornography does. Is it grabs a hold of you. But to know why it happened and why I got so addicted to it, well, not addicted to it, but why I got so interested in it, helped me to move on from it. It wasn't because I was a horrible person. It wasn't because I am addicted to sex or anything like that. It was because of things that happened, and things that I had no control over. As a 13, 12-year-old girl, you don't have or not even girl, kid. If pornography is introduced to you, good luck not getting addicted to it. So, anyway, I feel so awkward, but I am going to share this, and it's kind of scary, but whatever. I hope you didn't get completely bored, like my dog, watching this, and I encourage you to share this with someone if you think that they have gone through something similar. Because I want them to know they're not alone. We're not alone. We're gonna struggle with it for the rest of our lives, but we can have each other in it, and we can get through this together. Bye.